ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Wednesday, June 17th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We're keeping an eye on the College World Series. North Carolina and the bottom of the eighth leading the West Virginia Mountaineers 12-7. This one was a little bit of a bigger lead for North Carolina earlier, but the Mountaineers are keeping it interesting. We, of course, will hopefully have the final score for you as we're getting closer to the conclusion. Mountaineers scoring 7 in the bottom of the fifth and another run in the bottom of the eighth to bring it a little bit closer right now. The Tar Heels have out-hit the Mountaineers 16-2. A couple of errors for the Mountaineers as well. So we'll keep an eye on that score. Of course, if you want to listen to it, you are invited to head over to our sister station right now. That's Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. We've got an app. You can get that on our website, catsports933.com. And if you've got our app, there's an Other Stations button. I just want to tell you that if you're not familiar with that feature. There's an Other Stations tab. You can just switch over and listen to that stream. So we invite you, if you want to follow along with that game as you head home and you want to do so, get the app loaded if you haven't already, and you can switch over to Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340, and you can listen to the conclusion of that game. If you're going to stick around with me, we'll get you the final score if it happens before the end of the show. Our text line is open, and it's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop. We do that every day here at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. A couple things I want to get into. We're going to keep an eye, obviously, on this baseball game, but a couple things I want to get into. The College Sports Act. And I don't know what the final form of this is going to look like, but Yahoo Sports been doing some work on this. And there's a lot of proposals. Lawmakers have put together several proposed amendments to the Protect College Sports Act, and they've got a session coming up on Thursday to talk about this. There's some interesting proposals, so we're gonna talk about those. Some of them, okay, they sound all right. Definitely sound like there's some thought put into that. Others are just completely ridiculous, and we're gonna dunk on those that are absolutely ridiculous. There's even a proposal from Shelley Moore Capito, of course, your representative from the state of West Virginia, the Republican senator, says she would like to include. This is her amendment. This one would include basketball coaches, like football coaches, in the provision to prohibit them from leaving their team before that team's season is ended. And I'm okay with that. If it's in there for the football coaches, I think it should be equal. Whatever a provision is for a coach in one sport, I think that should translate over to another sport. Now, there's a provision to prevent coaches from leaving. Can you work on a provision to prevent coaches from being fired before the end of the season? None of this, and it doesn't happen that often, but can you put in a provision to prevent coaches from being fired? Look, your coach is bad. You're just going to have to deal with that, right? I mean, what's fair for one is fair for the other. But that's a potential amendment, a proposed amendment from Shelley Moore Capito. That's one of many. And I didn't find a problem with that one. So, we're definitely not going to take issue with that one. But there are several of them that I want to kind of go over and get your thoughts. And you know what? It's a Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. We're getting close to the weekend. So let's have some fun with this. Give me your proposed amendments to the Protect College Sports Act, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We'll run those down. And, of course, we're still keeping an eye on the game between North Carolina and West Virginia. This is an elimination game for the Mountaineers because they've already lost one. And so beating Troy yesterday 12-0. Mountaineers need to beat the Tar Heels to stay alive. And it's possible right now. They're only trailing by 5. That's possible. And you got to force another game. And if the Mountaineers can come back and win this, we'll have that game again on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. What a run so far. I'll say this. It didn't look so good early, but the bats started to come alive, and the Mountaineers are proving a little harder to eliminate for North Carolina. So we've got plenty of baseball. We're in the top of the ninth out, 2 outs right now. That's where we stand. So we'll hopefully have that conclusion unless the Mountaineer bats come alive. And if that's the case, and they can come back and they can win this thing, we'll see these two teams again on Thursday going right back at it. And if that's the case, the Mountaineers can win that one. They're in the best of three. They're in the best of three right now. So what needs to happen for them? Win this one, win the next one, and then you got best 2 out of 3. And how do you feel about the Mountaineers in a best of 3 series? That's probably the big question if they can get past North Carolina. So I'm keeping that on the side. We'll get into that a little bit later on. We'll get your text on that as well, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I did get some texts from Mark in Canova yesterday. Mark was telling me that it was ridiculous. It was ludicrous, actually, that any Marshall fan would think that Troy could beat the Mountaineers. Just thought that was hilarious that Herd fans were jumping on that Troy bandwagon thinking that the Trojans could be the team that beat the Mountaineers. So I'm curious how many of you are paying attention to this and how many of you have jumped on the North Carolina bandwagon. If you are still in that you don't want WVU mode, you don't want them to win mode. So we'll get all of that addressed, and of course we're going to go over some of these proposals for this Protect College Sports Act. We'll do that when we continue, but the text line is open. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is your drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Have you had your septic tank serviced lately? For a free-flowing system, it's vital to get your septic tank serviced every 3 to 5 years. Call One Way Septic today. Get hold of Chuck, 304-429-5218, or online at onewayseptic.com. One Way Septic offers septic services in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio, both residential and commercial services. Septic tank pumping, old system repairs, grease trap cleaning, it's got to be One Way Septic. Phone 304-429-5218. Online at onewayseptic.com.
Save big money on your next painting project when you shop at Menards. Get long-lasting color with Pittsburgh's grand distinction exterior paint and primer in one. It's highly dirt-resistant and provides a mildew-resistant coating. Save big money at all Pittsburgh paints. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help bring your dreams to life, 1 gallon at a time. Stop by your local Menards and get your project started today.
Save big money at Menards.
For one night only, 9th Street becomes Shakedown Street. 9th Street is Dead this Friday, June 19th, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center on the Marshall OBGYN stage at Moses Auto Mall of Huntington. 9th Street Live, presented by Michelob Ultra, White Claw, Big Timber, and Country Boy Brewing. Experience a night of iconic songs, epic jams, and a community that knows how to keep the music alive. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Gomart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy 9th Street libations from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station, featuring Tito's, Milagro Tequila, Rebel Bourbon, High Noon, and Lucky One. The after-show party takes place at Jerk Riley's at Pullman Square. Mark your calendar for July 10th and enjoy the music of the Beatles with the Newbies. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 14th, sponsored by Wendy's, Huntington Beverage Center, Sods, Apex Tech, The Great Outdoors Marine, Village Caregiving, Thoroughbred Express Wash, the City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Network Arena, and Kindred Communications.
Injured in a fall? Warner Law Offices is now here for you in Huntington on 4th Avenue across from the courthouse. Personal, local, decades of experience.
Call 345-6789.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue now delivers straight to your door. Wings, ribs, brisket, and more. Order online at wvbbq.com. Great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings. All without leaving your couch. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, 3rd Avenue in Huntington.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Wednesday edition of Your Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It's our Wednesday edition. That means we have a little fun, and we have fun every day. Fridays where we just really have fun, but we allow it today. And we've got our text line open for you, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Keeping an eye on the College World Series right now. It's the North Carolina Tar Heels leading the Mountaineers 12-7. We're in the bottom of the ninth now, and there are no outs. This is it for the Mountaineers. Need to rally here. The Mountaineers can put 5 on the board, did so in the bottom of the 7th, added another run in the bottom of the 8th. So now they just need 5 more to extend this one or get 6 to win. We'll see what happens. We'll probably have the conclusion of this one before we're done. But until then, we've got plenty of time for you. And again, that number, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. If you were with us just a few minutes ago, I alluded to some proposed amendments for the Protect College Sports Act. There's going to be a session on Thursday, sort of a markup session, and Yahoo Sports, give them credit for getting copies of some of these notable proposals. So we'll give them a lot of credit for what we're about ready to talk about. And I mentioned the one that came from Shelley Moore Capito, and Senator Capito is proposing to include basketball coaches like football coaches in the provision to prohibit them from leaving their team before that team's season is ended. Of course, basketball very important for Mountaineer fans and for Marshall as well, but there's been a little bit more movement with West Virginia than there has been with Marshall as of late. But if you want to protect your program from losing a coach because they're going somewhere else, you want to put that in and just make it uniform for football and basketball. I don't have, on the surface, I don't see anything about that suggestion that really stands out to me as being a bad idea. So I would say, okay, I would put that out there to discuss. Some of these are not even going to be heard. Some are going to be rejected, obviously. And I agree with Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports about that. Now, here's one, and I'm just going to go down the list from what Yahoo's put out there. Tammy Baldwin, Democrat from Wisconsin, prohibiting colleges from partnering with private equity firms in the sale of licensing media rights or allowing involvement in athletic operations. So she doesn't want private equity money coming into college sports, or at least being involved in those aspects. I mean, nothing sounds too bad on the surface on that one. Here's one, also from Baldwin, wants an amendment here, or an addition, to make the anti-expansion provision apply to all leagues and not just the SEC and the Big Ten. So the ACC, you can't expand. The Pac-12, you can't expand. The Big 12, you can't expand. The Sun Belt, you can't expand. I mean, what's the number going to be here? I don't think that one's going to necessarily. I mean, this is basically kind of rein in the SEC and the Big Ten. I mean, I see it on the surface. You see it on the surface. Now, this is from Ted Budd, the Republican out of North Carolina. This is a proposal. He wants one that ensures that the bill immediately applies to pending legal cases covering athletic eligibility, such as those granted additional years to play. So none of this, we're going to ease that in. Let's just go right away. Boom, it applies. I don't know if that's going to hold. Doesn't seem too outlandish. Now, this is one that I don't know is going to fly. Tammy Duckworth, Democrat out of Illinois, I believe. Duckworth's proposed amendment would change the revenue share cap to 50%. It is currently 22% of the average of power conference revenues. So she's saying 50-50 split. I don't know if that's going to fly because we have the haves and the have-nots, and they're also in those power conferences, the haves and the have-nots. Some of those programs can do that a lot more effectively than other programs. And if I'm going to go somewhere to play ball, and I'm one of the best college football athletes out there, and I could go to Ohio State, I can get more money because they can split more with me than, say, Penn State, just to throw them out as an example, or Maryland. I'm going to Ohio State, right? I don't know if that's going to hold. Also from Duckworth, a provision to only apply the one-time transfer limitation to men's basketball and football players in the Power 4 leagues. That one I'm tossing. I'm absolutely tossing that. The one-time transfer limitation has to be uniform. There cannot be any gap in how that is enforced or how that plays out. It has to be uniform from league to league, sport to sport. They cannot be well, you can do it here and you can't do it here. I don't want any of that. If I'm part of this process, I'm looking at that and I'm taking the green pen and just marking that out, like, try again. If I had that, why would you do that one? I don't like that, because it's got to be fair. It's got to be equal. Now, sometimes you might not feel that it's fair if it's equal, but you understand what the limitations are across the board. And if you apply the one-time transfer limitation to men's basketball and football players in the power leagues, that means Marshall's going to get rated every year, because the big schools, those players can't leave as much. The little schools, there's no limitation here. You get a Marshall and you can jet off and go somewhere else. If you come in for the transfer portal, and then you can leave again. Okay. Here's one that is going to completely not only be divisive, I think, to a degree, but I don't even think this is going to make it. You might think this one is either ludicrous or divisive. And it involves athletes as employees. This is from Bernie Morano from Ohio. We know Bernie Morano. And Bernie wants a provision that clarifies athletes are not employees and requires women's sports competition be limited to those assigned female at birth. That's almost a poison pill, I think. I don't think that gets added to this one, because that one, I think, is being handled elsewhere. I don't think that you can put that one in here, because one, that's gonna vary state to state to state to state. I don't know at this time if you can even attempt something like that, as far as competition being limited to those assigned female at birth. So that's going to get a lot of challenges. And it clarifies athletes are not employees and require. Are they not employees? Are they employees? Or are they not? Are they contractors or employees? What do we say on that one? I think that one's going to be a little divisive here, and I want your take on that one. That one especially, and the transfer limitation and the revenue share. Those are ones that I think are going to get a little pushback. And here's one from Eric Schmidt out of Missouri. Lowers the membership requirement to pool media rights from 75% to 70% of FBS schools. I like it. I don't know if some of the other schools will, being the Big Ten, being the SEC. And I feel like that's going to be one of those real big sticking points. The pooling media rights. I mean, it would make sense if college sports was on a little bit more of a level playing field. And, of course, we don't want to be on a level playing field, right? No. If you're in the Big Ten, you don't want to be on a level playing field. If you're in the SEC, do you want to be on a level playing field with the ACC? If you're in the ACC, you want to be on a level playing field with the Big Ten and the SEC. If you're in the Sun Belt, you're definitely not on a level playing field, and this might help. And, of course, there are some other things that will factor into this. I mean, if you compare apples to oranges here, you go to a game in Ohio, go to Columbus, you go to the Shoe, it's jacked, it's jam-packed. They're making crazy money off ticket sales. You go to Jones C. Edwards Stadium, smaller capacity, you're not making Ohio State money on tickets. So there still will be some advantages. There's just built-in advantages. If you're at Michigan, the Big House, you're making Big House ticket money. You're not making Big House ticket money at Marshall. You're not making Big House ticket money at Mountaineer Field. You're not making that kind of money. You're not even making Big House money in Lexington. So there's other ways to get your money, but the media rights have been the big one. And that's really, I think, where a lot of the divide has been, because you're getting crazy TV money. I mean, what kind of crazy TV money is the Sun Belt getting? Not much. What kind of crazy TV money is, the MAC getting? Maybe not much. Now, here's one that I don't know if we're just throwing stuff out here to throw it out here. I appreciate the sentiment, though. This is from Tim Sherry, I believe. Proposal prohibits postseason FBS games from being televised during the Army-Navy game. So you're just basically going to tell every single outlet, hey, you can't have a game during the Army-Navy game? I don't know. I get the sentiment here. I mean, Army-Navy game's big. Most people are going to watch that anyway, and most schedules don't conflict with that. I don't know. I think we're just adding to add here at this point. This is going to get inflated and bloated. This is Roger Wicker. I think this is from Mississippi. Roger Wicker. Ensures that non-participating schools and conferences are not held liable if they decline to pool media rights. Okay. Don't want to upset some schools there. And then here's the balance to this one. This sort of is the opposite of the lowers the membership requirement. Raises, again from Roger Wicker, raises the membership requirement to pool rights from 75 to 85%. That would effectively kill that. You're going to get 85% of college football teams, universities, to pool, just universities, athletic departments, to pool media rights. I don't think that's going anywhere. I don't think Wicker's stuff is going anywhere. I don't think Duckworth's proposal is going anywhere. The change the revenue share cap to 50%. I don't think the one-time transfer limitation to men's basketball and football players in the Power 4 leagues is going anywhere. Those are probably the big offenders for me. I think the one that Shelley Moore Capito put out is reasonable. If you're going to prohibit football coaches, you should prohibit basketball coaches as well. So there's some solid stuff in here. There's some interesting things, and there's some absolute garbage in here as well, as I expected. What did they get right? What did they get wrong? Again, these are just proposed amendments. This is not even official yet. This is stuff that if I was a senator, I would propose something. So I would get into a Yahoo Sports article, and then somewhere in the country, somebody is talking about my garbage proposal for college sports. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Text line open, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's baseball season, and baseball fans know the season can be long. You need something to help you through, and that something is Roosters at Pullman Square in Huntington. Roosters has over 40 big screen TVs, so your game is always on. And with their great daily specials, like the $3 featured appetizer of the week on Tuesdays, the season will be over before you know it. And if you're like me, fan of a losing team, there's nothing like Roosters wings to soften the blow. Roosters at Pullman Square in Huntington, a fun casual joint.
This summer, follow country roads to West Virginia's spectacular state parks. Turns out the getaway you've been looking for isn't far, and it doesn't have to cost a lot. With affordable stays, mountain views, and waterfalls that make you slow down a while. It's all right here. Plan your getaway today at wvstateparks.com.
This is Huntington Mayor Patrick Farrell. The best part of any city isn't the buildings, it's the people. It's neighborhoods spending time together, families making memories, friends reconnecting on a summer evening. That's what Dog Dazzle is all about. Join us July 3rd at Harris Riverfront Park to celebrate America's birthday with food, music, community, and fireworks over the Ohio River. Because the best cities are built when people come together. Come celebrate America's birthday with us.
Here's another Kindred Communication Community Chatter. Marshall University's Huntington Alumni Chapter is hosting its 2026 Golf Tournament fundraiser. This raises money for scholarships for future Marshall students. This will be at Creekside Golf Course Friday, June 26th. Registration 7 a.m. Call Gene Chapin at 304-360-1023 to sign up. This Cantor Communications Community Chatter brought to you by Kentucky Farmers Bank, a better banking summit, Ashland, Catlettsburg, Louisa, and Wheelersburg. Online at KFB.bank.
A celebration 250 years in the making. It's Dog Dazzle 2026. Friday, July 3rd at Harris Riverfront Park. Dog Dazzle 2026 featuring West Virginia legend Kathy Mattea.
18 wheels and a dozen roses.
Plus, Special guest Bent Whiskey and Brett Mahon with the Tri-State's largest fireworks. Gates open at 5 p.m. Enjoy inflatables, ice-cold drinks from the Smokin' Jay's beer tents, food trucks, fun and family all night long. Dog Dazzle with Kathy Mattea. Get to 937thedog.com for free ticket locations. America 250 Dog Dazzle 2026. Bark On with Kathy Mattea, Friday, July 3rd. Get to Jerks at Pullman Square for the official after-show party. Dog Dazzle 2026. Presented by Gomart, Austin's Homemade Ice Cream, K&B Pest Control, Michelob Ultra, White Claw, Busch Light, the City of Huntington, the Campbell County Commission, Little Caesars, Gomart, Great Outdoors Marine, Thoroughbred Express Wash, Blinko Glass Company, Wendy's, Tudor's Biscuit World, West Virginia Appalachian Laborers District Council, Xfinity, Miller Lite, Coors Light, Twisted Tea, Encova, Kendrick Communications, and 93.7 The Dog.
What's your favorite high school sports memory? A late inning rally? A game-winning shot? A photo finish? Maybe it's a pep rally or a pregame ritual. Maybe it's the euphoria of a late-night bus ride home after a hard-fought win. Maybe it's having pizza with teammates after the game. Now, imagine if it never happened at all. School sports need your help. With budgets getting tighter, it's more than the games that are on the line. It's all the traditions, the community pride, the culture of your hometown high school. Plus, all those memories that are on the line, too. What can you do? It's simple. Buy a ticket when you can. Go to a game. Take the whole family. Let's do everything we can to keep those cherished school sports memories alive.
This message presented by the West Virginia Secondary School Activities Commission and the West Virginia Athletic Directors Association.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We've got a final from the College World Series. Elimination game for the Mountaineers seemed to be possibly going to be extended. Unfortunately, not the case as the rally falls short. Mountaineers lose to North Carolina 12-7, and so no more country roads in Omaha as the Tar Heels advance to the Men's College World Series Finals. The text line 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And again, you can be a part of the program anytime, or you can find me on X at Paul Swann. So it's over for the Mountaineers. It was a fun run, though, right? If you're a Mountaineer fan, it was a fun run. You got to the Final Four. You got to be one of the best four teams left in college baseball. Just couldn't get past the Tar Heels. You got past Troy. Just couldn't get past the one of the actual power teams in the tournament. I mean, Troy was good, but Troy didn't have the depth. And then the Mountaineers had depth that just couldn't get the bats alive quick enough to overcome North Carolina. So you can be a part of the program as well. And again, I'll give that number one more time. It's brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So we've been looking at some of the proposals for the Save College Sports Act. And a lot of those are interesting, and we'll see what this looks like here in the future. But I think the one thing that everyone's more interested in right now is what are we going to do with the college football playoff? That's the big driver of a lot of this is what are we going to do with the college football playoff? And right now, we're not seeing 24. Could a 24-team playoff get the go-ahead? And will 24 prevail, or would 16 be the sweet number for the college football playoff? I'm actually in favor of 24 teams right now. 16 is a nice number. 16 is a good number. But I would like to see 24. And I'm actually in favor of maybe losing the conference championship game. I'm actually in favor of that because we've seen so much stress over the conference championship game. You lose your conference championship game, and then all of a sudden, you're not one of the best teams in the country, even though the resume's been there all year long. And you're sometimes on the outside looking in, and you're like, we're better than that team that got in, and we lost to, we're in the best league, and we lose our conference championship game to one of the better teams, and we're on the outside looking in. Of course, I think 24 would obviously help. Then you would have the team that thinks it's deserving to be in, number 25. That's where it always goes. If you do 16, well, the 17th best team. Hey, we're better than some of those teams in the 16 field. We're a top 16 team. I mean, right now you're a top 12 team. Hey, we're better than some of those teams in the top 12. You get to 16, okay, we're better than some of those teams that are in the 16 range. You get to 24, okay. I mean, we do a top 25, so number 25 is out, right? And would this actually mean a little bit more access for some of the teams that are in the group of 6, the non-power, the non-autonomy leagues? And if you have this Save College Football Act, would that actually help? And there's a lot of things that I'm liking about where they're possibly going here with the regional alignment. And I saw a couple of things on X. I was amused that there were some attempts to realign the conferences based on the geography. And darn it, Marshall and Western Kentucky still can't seem to get in a conference. And I think I saw something where actually had Marshall in a revamped American with Army and Navy and App State. I think I saw where West Virginia would be in the ACC. Interesting, to say the least. Yeah, I don't know how the conference realignment would work. Who would be ultimately the arbiter of the conference realignment? If you're going to adjust the conference boundaries here, okay, here, I mean, do you just do a map? Like, okay, this is the north, this is the south, this is the east, this is the west, this is the northeast, this is the northwest. This is the central, the plains. What are you doing there? How would you align any of that? But I like it. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually like it because then you would have a situation where travel would be easier. You might have some bigger schools with littler schools. That's one thing you got to keep in mind. Just because you put someone in the same conference, now if you're sharing revenue, if you're doing a little bit more of that, you absolutely have an opportunity to kind of be on closer of a level playing field. I mean, imagine, could West Virginia compete in the ACC? I would think so. If you're playing with, everybody was on a level playing field in the ACC, I think West Virginia could compete in the ACC. Marshall, what if it was like the Big Ten in Marshall, all the Big Ten teams in Marshall? Yeah, I mean, if Marshall's got Big Ten money, Marshall could work its way up, possibly. So I like where some of this is going, but it's going to be difficult as well. I mean, it's got to make sense as well. The geography has got to make sense if you're even going to even propose something like this, and you got to sell people on this. Like, for example, West Virginia should always play Pitt, plain and simple. Always play Pitt. It's a traditional game. I like tradition. I don't mind the school, whatever school it is. I like tradition. If it's a traditional game, it should be played, and you can do that now, but if you put them in the same conference and you make that as a mainstay on the schedule, it could really work out. Geographically, where would you like to see Marshall end up? Which schools would you like to see Marshall align with? If you were trying to put together the suggestions, okay, what would the landscape look like if we were doing this by geography? I mean, do we have to have districts? We have regions, districts. What are we doing here? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Mike Rowe here with a fun fact. Did you know that 50% of the air that you breathe inside your home comes from your crawl space? Yeah. Whether your crawl space is wet, musty, or your floors are bouncy, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to repair your crawl space. Baker's Waterproofing and Basement Authority of West Virginia are now Groundworks. Schedule a free inspection.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
For one night only, 9th Street becomes Shakedown Street. 9th Street is Dead this Friday, June 19th, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center on the Marshall OBGYN stage at Moses Auto Mall of Huntington. 9th Street Live, presented by Michelob Ultra, White Claw, Big Timber, and Country Boy Brewing. Experience a night of iconic songs, epic jams, and a community that knows how to keep the music alive. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy 9th Street libations from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station, featuring Tito's, Milagro Tequila, Rebel Bourbon, High Noon, and Lucky One. The after-show party takes place at Jerk Riley's at Pullman Square. Mark your calendar for July 10th and enjoy the music of the Beatles with the Newbies. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 14th, sponsored by Wendy's, Huntington Beverage Center, Sods, Apex Tech, The Great Outdoors Marine, Village Caregiving, Thoroughbred Express Wash, the City of Huntington, Marshall University, Blinko Glass Company, Marshall Health Network Arena, and Kindred Communications.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-970-3199. That's 800-970-3199. 800-970-3199.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Transform your home in one weekend and save big money at Menards. Protect and enjoy your outdoor living space with Thompson's semi-transparent wood sealer. It maintains wood's natural color and provides durable year-round protection from water and sun damage in just one coat. Save big money on Thompson's water seal products. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help bring your dreams to life, 1 gallon at a time. Stop by your local Menards today.
Save big money at Menards.
Last night we put on an epic light show.
Yeah, we did.
The crowd loved us. We love the crowd.
Wait, but there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? All 8 of their eyes lit up brighter than ours. And we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, that one girl, she looked like she'd never seen glow-in-the-dark like this before, and we invented glow-in-the-dark.
Yeah, we invented it.
And we're gonna be out here every night, rocking out our light show at a forest near you.
Woohoo!
So come check us out.
Check us out.
And bring your kid, all ages show. Oh, but don't bring any of those glass jars, because they make us kind of nervous.
Yeah, and I'm super claustrophobic.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you and discover other cool things to do when you go, like fishing, biking, or even camping. Visit discovertheforest.org.
See you later!
Yeah, see you soon.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Miss an episode? Catch it anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We continue with your Wednesday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Text line is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. I have failed to mention it is Mascot Day. So happy Mascot Day, happy Marco Day to everyone who loves Marco or your favorite Mountaineer or Wildcat or Buckeye, your favorite mascot. Happy Mascot Day to wherever you're at. And you can be a part of the show again at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You know why I remembered it was it was Mascot Day. It's because Marshall football put it out on social earlier that it's Mascot Day. And you can play as Marco in this year's EA Sports college football game. Okay, there you go. I mean, that's a proper way to celebrate, right? It's Mascot Day. Marco's in the game. If Marco's in the game, you're definitely getting the game, right? Are we beyond that game right now? By the way, a few years ago, that was the thing that a lot of people wanted to talk about, that were excited about the college football game. A couple of our previous interns spending all of their hard-earned money to get the early pre-access of that game. And, I mean, that's games on the discount bin now because the new version came out. So are you excited about that, Marco, in the Mascot game? No, probably not. But happy Mascot Day to you. Let's get back to the text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says that some of those proposals were absolutely garbage. But I do agree with Shelley Moore-Capito. There should be some limits on coaches from both football and basketball. Appreciate the text. Of course, we were going over some of the proposed amendments for the Save College Sports Act. I thought there were some okay ones in there, nothing that was earth-shattering. But at the same time, this thing's got a lot of work to go through before, and I mean this thing's got a lot of work before it gets to a point where everybody's going to agree on this. I know the NCAA is on board with this. I know the Big Ten and the SEC is not on board with this, and there's a lot of things that need to be broken down. There's something in the act that might hit the salary cap. You want to call it that? Or the revenue share cap. Let's call it that. The better, more proper term anyway. And I'm hoping if this thing goes through and if lawmakers put this thing together, that it protects all schools and makes it a little bit more of an even playing field, to be honest with you. Because right now, it's not, and a lot of that has to do with if you can outspend, you win, for the most part. I mean, Michigan bought its way to a national championship. Nobody batted an eye about that. If you can spin enough, you can win a national championship. And what's that really doing? And it's top heavy. I mean, that's not trickling down to some of the other sports. It's not, basketball's not singing. I mean, if you're at a basketball-centric school, you're at a school where basketball is higher priority than football, or basketball is the priority and there is no football. I mean, you can devote more of your revenue there and make basketball the showcase, and you can probably have a lot more success. You know, how does Kentucky, a school like Kentucky that prides itself on being a basketball school, juggle being a basketball school, trying to compete in the SEC in football and trying to do both, while there's other schools that have seemed to have lapped the Wildcats. Same thing with the SEC. I mean, what happened to Alabama? Alabama, all of a sudden, it's a little bit more of a level playing field. We don't see Alabama necessarily as the big kid anymore. It's not the big school. It's still a big school, but it's not the automatic, okay, this is going to be Alabama again. It's Alabama's game to lose. And that's not the case anymore, because we've seen now there are a lot of programs that are adapting, and you're just doing out in the open what you couldn't do before. And there are a lot of programs that are doing it better than some of the traditionals, and there's still a lot of programs that are just able to flex that a little bit more. You think Ohio State isn't going to be able to flex whatever comes down? A school like Ohio State is going to be able to flex. It just makes money. It prints money. And again, television revenue has exploded. And there is a have and have not now. Now, you could argue that, well, what's wrong with that? Because if the bigger schools can generate the money and the revenue, why not have the benefit of that revenue? And okay, I get that completely, and I wouldn't argue against that. But at the end of the day, you got to have a system where everybody's playing by the same rules. And I don't know if tying revenue into revenue sharing would help that. I mean, some schools, some programs might think that is, hey, you're taking away our potential. We can't help it that we can we can generate more revenue than the next guy. But if you're going to have something that's sustainable, I think you got to look at this from a different angle here, because right now it's a race to spend money to hand people money. That's what it's become, and it's not the name, image, and likeness that we've discussed, and we are blue in the face talking about what name, image, and likeness should be and what it's become. I mean, if I can write a big enough check and I can do it in a way that's going to get past all the rules and the guardrails, I can write that big check. I might have a contender tomorrow at Marshall University. If I can write some big checks, basketball, football, if I can write the big enough check here, if I can plunk the cash down that you need, I could potentially, with just a pen stroke, I could probably raise the funds that you need to win the Sun Belt Conference, because that's going to open up some new avenues for you. Because now it's, hey, what's my NIL look like? Not for the most part, what's the education look like? What programs does Marshall offer? What benefits do you offer compared to other schools as far as my development and my growth as a player? It's, I'm really good. You want me. Here's my base salary. Pretty much what it's come down to. And with that said, we're out of time. Let's have a great day tomorrow. Thanks for being a part of it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We'll be back with you for Thursday and Friday as we get back into the swing of things. Thankfully, we don't have baseball knocking us off the air, but we do have baseball coming up tonight, 9:15. Pirates and A's wrapping up the series. Pirates got the win last night. Yeah, but it went past midnight again. 6-5. More action from the West Coast coming up tonight right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.